Have you ever tried to break a bad habit? I mean, really tried. You've probably been told to just, use more willpower, to just be stronger. But what if that's been the wrong advice this whole time? Well, today we're going to dive into a totally different approach. It's a science-backed tactical guide to rewiring your brain that has almost nothing to do with raw strength and everything to do with smart strategy. Okay, let's just start right here. This single idea, it completely flips the script on everything we think we know about self-control. It's not about overpowering an urge head-on. It's about strategically making it harder for that urge to even get to you in the first place. Think about it this way. We're not trying to build a bigger dam. We're just going to reroute the river. So how do we do that? First, we have to identify the real opponent. And here's a hint. It's not some kind of moral failing or a lack of character. Nope. The battle is happening inside your head. It's neurological, and it actually has a name. And this right here is the key. This defines the entire struggle. Limbic friction. That's that feeling of being at war with yourself. It's your ancient emotional brain, your limbic system, screaming, I want it and I want it now. And at the exact same time, your modern rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, is trying to whisper, hey, remember our long-term goals? That conflict, that's the friction. This is the perfect way to think about it. When you give into a craving, it's not because you're weak. It's just because the emotional side of that rope got pulled a little harder in that one moment. So our goal isn't to become some superhuman at tug-of-war. Our goal is to make our opponent's side of the rope, well, slippery and really hard to grip. So that brings us to our very first tactic, and we're going to start on the outside. Before we even try to change what's going on in our minds, we're going to change the world around us to give our rational brain a real fighting chance. And here's our core strategy, grounded in actual psychology. Friction theory is so simple, it's brilliant. Every tiny little bit of effort you add between you and that bad habit acts like a circuit breaker. It gives your prefrontal cortex just enough time to wake up and go, hey, wait a second, do I really want to do this? So, of course, the most important place to apply this theory is where we are most vulnerable, our digital lives. I mean, think about it. Algorithms are designed for zero friction. They're like a perfectly smooth, effortless slide that takes you straight to the habit. Our job is to put some resistance back in. We need to add bumps and obstacles to that slide. Here is a perfect, practical example. The simple act of having to type in a password creates a pause. It's not a giant wall, it's just a small speed bump. But you'd be amazed that tiny speed bump is often all the time your rational brain needs to intercept that mindless, impulsive urge and grab the steering wheel back. And this applies to the physical world too. Think about something like social friction. If you're trying to quit a digital addiction, just moving your computer into the living room creates this invisible obstacle. On the left, you've got a low friction zone, like a bedroom office, which makes the habit super easy. But on the right, a high friction zone, like a shared space, makes it socially awkward and a whole lot less likely to happen. You're literally using your environment as an ally. Okay, so once we've redesigned our external world, it is time to go internal. We're moving from building fences to actually recoding the software inside our brains. This is where we get into the really cool mechanics of neuroplasticity. Because let's be real, adding friction helps, but it doesn't just make the craving disappear. That signal is still going to fire. So what do you do when that wave of desire hits you directly? How do you handle the urge in the moment it's happening? Okay, let's get into this powerful technique called the replacement chord. Think of it like you're changing the notes in a piece of music. The bad habit is like a familiar, jarring chord. Instead of just trying to not play it, you actively play a new, better chord the second the craving arrives. When you do this over and over, you're basically hijacking that old neural pathway. This triggers a process called long-term depression, or LTD, which literally weakens the old connection at a cellular level, causing the bad habit to just fade out over time. It's amazing. Now, this is a really fascinating concept from neuroscience. Your brain doesn't just register the habit itself. It registers the moments right before you start and right after you finish. This is called task bracketing. It basically creates a mental container for the effort, which makes it feel much more manageable and distinct from everything else. And this is the critical takeaway. By using task bracketing, we can completely shift our internal reward system. So instead of only celebrating the outcome, like, yay, I didn't check my phone for an hour, you celebrate the act of starting the effort and completing the effort. You reward yourself for the decision to lean into that discomfort, and that reinforces the whole process, making it so much easier the next time around. So all of this brings us to the final and, honestly, the most profound level of change. We've managed our environment. We've managed our brain chemistry. Now we have to manage our sense of self. This is about changing who we fundamentally believe we are. So many of our bad habits are fueled by this constant hunt for external validation. The likes, the views, the approval. It's a dopamine slot machine. The fundamental shift here is to cultivate an internal locus of evaluation. What that means is your sense of worth, your sense of progress, it comes from your own standards, not from an algorithm or what someone else thinks. This is quiet power. And this is such a powerful metaphor for how to actually do it. This is meta-awareness. The craving, the anxiety, the impulse. That's the storm. It's loud, it's intense, it feels like it's everything. But it's temporary. You are not the storm. You are the sky that the storm is passing through. By learning to just observe your cravings as these temporary electrical signals, you detach from them, and they lose their power because you realize they are not your identity. So, let's put all of this together. The ultimate goal of this tactical reset isn't just about breaking one bad habit. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with distraction and impulse altogether. It's about becoming uncontrollable. And this, right here, is the final truth. The addiction isn't really the problem. It's just a symptom. It's a solution you found for some deeper discomfort. The real work, the real victory, is evolving into a person who just doesn't need that escape anymore. It's about deleting the version of yourself that is so easily controlled. And that leaves us with this final thought to take with you. When your attention is truly your own, when your choices are guided by your internal compass instead of an external algorithm, what becomes possible? Who will you become?